Hello, and welcome to another episode of Treasury Talks. With the surge of COVID-19 still present, many Delawareans are facing difficult financial challenges, both at home and as well as with their businesses. Many have turned to my guest for help. Rashmi Rangan serves as the executive director of the Delaware Community Reinvestment Action Council and has led this organization since 1994. DCRAC, as it is known, is a nonprofit that works to transform the financial lives for Delawareans through advocacy, education, legislation, and outreach. Since 1987, they have operated with the mission to ensure equitable treatment and equal access to credit and capital. Rashmi's journey from India to Delaware has been an inspiration to many and certainly worth sharing, especially during these uncertain times. Rashmi, thank you for joining me today. Tell us more about how, your upbringing, what led you to Delaware, what motivated you to get involved in the financial wellness space.
Some 33 years ago, I was a research intern at this organization, DCRAC, and at one of our board meetings on a Saturday, one of my board members came dressed in her Sunday best. And another board member came, he was painting his house, paint-stained sweats. I asked the one dressed to the hilt, "What's the occasion?" She said she had to stop at a bank. One was white, one was not. We have worked very hard to ensure that all understand equitable treatment and equal access to credit and capital isn't about how we present ourselves. It is about a system that looks at us and creates obstacles. So that was my first experience here in Delaware. But you asked about my growing up. I grew up in India, where just being a woman, a girl, growing up there, I was fighting all the time for equal access, equal access. When my mom told me, learn to cook, I said the day my brother, who was 8 years younger than me, the day my brother is taught to cook is the day you can even tell me to learn to cook. So it's in my DNA. And when I was 5, I used to say, when I grow up, I'll become a doctor. In the morning, I'll fly into America. And at night, I'll sail home. So practically all of my dreams have come true. Every day is a beautiful journey here at DCRAC.
That is absolutely an amazing story. And I love it. It really speaks to who you are and how your passions have been really embedded in the work that you do. It certainly prepared you to fulfill the mission of DCRAC. Could you share a bit more about the programs that are offered at DCRAC and how your organization initially responded during the onset of the pandemic, where you see your role sort of going now?
I'll start with the Money School. It is a program that really is tied to ensuring that we build savvy consumers of financial products and services. Over these last 33 years, the financial system has become incredibly complex and complicated. And we need to know how to work within the system and take advantage of the system and not be taken advantage of. Pre-COVID, did you know that nearly 40% of Americans couldn't handle a $400 emergency? And during COVID, those emergencies are far greater than $400. So we are incredibly, our work, and of course, your office and our office is working together to collaborate and making education center to all our work. We started a credit union for our community. Remember, I mentioned about the 2 board members. And this was because we need something that we own. So Stepping Stones Community Federal Credit Union is the only certified minority depository institution in the state of Delaware. We are a CDFI. We are a Federal Home Loan Bank member. We are a fully functioning online banking and in-person banking. We can make loans as little as $125 and as high as $700,000, as we did with the PPP program last year. And we are in that space again to do so. The reason we chartered this credit union was very simple. In a financial life of a person who is unbanked or underbanked, they spend over $40,000 to convert their paycheck into cash and then cash into instruments to pay their bills. This is America. We simply cannot settle for a person who needs to manage their finances better and then have less finances to work with just because the fees kind of drag them down. Over the years, we've also learned that legal access is very challenging or very expensive. We are strong partners with our legal aid, legal services, and the volunteer legal services in the state of Delaware. But there are many, many services that aren't available, or you make a dime too much to avail of those services. So there are quite a few that we offer on a sliding scale basis, and some that we provide for free. And advocacy, it's all about advocacy. This is what we were founded on, to ensure equitable treatment, equal access to credit and capital. And that is where we are focused on.
Well, your initiative and creativity has truly been a blessing to Delawareans up and down the state. Organizations like yours have answered the call when we've needed you the most. And I think your example of providing PPP loans is a crucial one, and sort of a shining example of that work. What you have learned in your time as executive director as it relates to being financially prepared for unpredictable emergencies like COVID, how would you say that translates, and how important is access to fair lending and transparent banking for the financial health and wellness of our society kind of across the board?
This is something that the nonprofit community faces time and time again. Just in the last 33 years, we have gone through quite a few financial cycles where we've been impacted with the economic crisis. In an economic crisis, what happens? The poor get poorer, the middle class shrinks, the rich get richer. The needs get greater, demands on the nonprofit are high, funding shrinks, and we end up having to do much more with much less. This crisis was no different. Just like the folk that we are here to serve, we also have been impacted. And I don't believe any sector, any person has not been affected by the COVID-19. But also, while everything has been challenging, folk have been very creative and innovative. We've also seen the government respond interestingly. So we had the CARES Act. We have the CARES Act funding. For a time, we were in a crunch. The state didn't have enough programs to give it away. We came up with this great need that our community has, online banking, because when the pandemic hit and the state shut down, Stepping Stones did not close for even an hour. because folk had banking elsewhere, but all branches were closed. We were open, they came to us, and we helped them download the app on their computers, on their cell phones, if they had smartphones. Otherwise, we gave them our computer to be able to do their transactions, because without that kind of access, they would have been nowhere. And that made us realize that we needed to equip our members with computers, laptops, and help them budget for internet. Because without that internet, it's going to be difficult to be able to access everything, that we've gone virtual for everything. So it's a challenge, but we are figuring out ways. We are going to purchase 1,500 computers, laptops, and Chromebooks to distribute to our members and teach them how to do online banking, teach them about cybersecurity, take that opportunity to help them create their budgets so that they can budget for everything that they need. Those are just wonderful opportunities. Then the McKenzie grant to Delaware State University and to YMCA of Delaware, wonderful opportunities. That is what the nonprofits need, deep support. We've got, DCRAC has been blessed. We are neighborhood builders. Bank of America's $200,000 grant. 2 organizations receive them each year in Delaware. We are one of them, and YMCA is the other. We are incredibly proud. In addition to the money, it's just those networks, the training that we do need, just like our clients. We need to be trained to take advantage of opportunities. It's been challenging, but it's also been wonderful to watch the response from everyone in every sector.
With the start of 2021, many Delawareans are doing just that. They're taking a real look at their finances. And I feel that, folks want to see a true sense of empowerment. And we've talked about disparities in certain communities. What would you say needs to be done to address some of these dynamic issues of economics and financial empowerment? What happens if we stay on this course without doing more?
Status quo is totally unacceptable. I've been the executive director 25 years, and in those 25 years, I've seen the Community Reinvestment Act and the dialogue every couple of years around fair lending. We are very engaged in fair housing. Every few years, we have these events where we talk about fair housing, and it's been talk. Unless we do things differently, there is no way that things will get any better. For me, every year when I sit back and see what have we accomplished, I see that we have taken 1 step forward, but 2 steps back. And that ain't a dance I want to dance. So we have to make a lot of changes. With all eyes on Delaware, we are on the world stage. Our Joe is going to DC. We've got to show the world that we can do so much. I'll give you an example. Had we looked at our pandemic relief from an equity lens, we would have done things a little differently. For example, there are extensions of unemployment checks. What do my clients do? At the end of the year, when they file their tax returns, they get a refund. They get a huge refund, and they plan their financial lives around it. This year, when they sit down to do their tax returns, first, not only are they not going to get their refund, but unemployment is taxable. So they will end up with a tax debt. So starting 2021, they will start out with a leg already in a quagmire. So looking at things from an equity lens allows us to look at the policies. And when we talk about these systemic barriers, these are the kind of systemic barriers that force you into choices that no one in their right mind would make. We also need opportunities to circulate that dollar longer in our communities. In the Black community, it stays only 6 hours. We have to create an infrastructure where our money circulates in our community much longer than 6 hours. There's so much we can do. We need to work together. There is a great need, there is great talent, and we can't be about our egos. We can't be about fighting for grants and a sliver of that pie. We just have to work together, period. Again, all eyes are on little old Delaware. And we are little old Delaware. We can do it. We could be a tiny little pilot for one of the largest states. That's how little we are. And if I won't say if we can't, we can do it, and we can show the world how it is done.
I will say I think we're only touching the surface of a lot of these topics. So I feel like we're going to have to come back and have a further sort of deeper discussion. But Rashmi, I want to say thank you for everything that you are doing to help Delawareans. Now more than ever, our citizens need organizations like yours. If someone is in need of your services, how should they reach out to you, and what can you offer?
Very easy. 302-298-3250. It comes straight to my cell phone. Call, text, and we will answer the questions. Right now, what we are doing is almost triaging, because folk are calling us for help, like my bank, how do I download this? Or unemployment insurance, how do I file? The stimulus package, economic impact payment, how do I access? How do I do my tax returns? I got this notice from the IRS, what do I do? In many instances, once we know what's going on, at that stage, we can either refer out or work with them within our shop.
That's fantastic. Really crucial work you and your team are doing, and very, very much appreciated. So thank you so much. And thank you again for joining me today.